Hello, my name is Kay and welcome back to another episode of House Flipper. So I have my new computer so things will look a little bit better. But we are going to buy a new house today. We are going to buy a house with uninvited guests for $61,969.09. A real estate in a great area for immediate purchase. A house from the 1940s for renovation. And here are some pictures. And the uninvited guests are, here's the spoiler, they are, I was going to say termites. They are not termites, they are cockroaches. Here is a very quick tour of what we are working with here. A little bit of a different layout this time. Living room, there are the cockroaches. Why do I want to keep calling them termites? I don't know. They are not termites. They are cockroaches. Here we have the walls painted. Very nice. I chose this dark brown color for the living room and kitchen. I don't like that color at all. It's like a cocoa color. I don't like it, but I forced myself to use it and try to make something nice happen with it. I'm not entirely sold on it, but I don't hate it. It's just something different. Here's the bathroom. I kept the toilet as is. I do change the sink later and I replace the bathtub. Not much to see here, although I did, when I was retiling the walls, I did miss a little teeny tiny bit of painting that needed to be done right above the doorway, so I do go back and fix that. Got some blinds going on. We have a light. Yep, that's the spot that I missed. You'll see. Oh, wait, I missed some things. So here we go. Little thing of white paint. Ta-da! All done. I did keep the flooring consistent throughout the house. I did not change any of the flooring because we have been spending a lot of money on these renovations. And that's not really a problem because we can always make more money, but I try to be a little more thrifty for this renovation. There is no particular theme or style aside from I wanted to be a little more old-fashioned, a little more basic, and kind of like a grandparent's house because we keep selling to the older elderly couple, and there's nothing wrong with that. They really like, quote, old-fashioned furniture. And there are specific pieces of furniture that are labeled as old-fashioned. And so I use like one of those. You'll see it later. But overall, I didn't go with any wild color stories. I didn't go with anything super modern. I went with mostly traditional. And these chairs were actually in the house when we bought the house, so I just kept them. Normally, I would probably go with something a little more old-fashioned, I suppose, probably wooden chairs to go with the rest of the theme of this house, but the chairs were here. We didn't have to spend any money on them. And I did sell like a coffee table, a desk, and some other pieces of furniture that were in here because I just didn't want them. No, I'm not going to keep them just to keep them because I want to be happy with the house at the end of the day. So you will notice that nearly all of the wood tones, at least for the first part of this renovation, are cedar. I went with this kind of warmer color wood as opposed to something very light or very, very dark. I'm very happy with the cedar. I think it looks nice. But yeah, these wall colors, I want like a deep, dark chocolate brown color for paint, and there isn't any color that really fits that description. So I went with the darkest that I could, but I ended up really not being thrilled with it. This room is not going to be a bedroom. We already have a room set aside for a bedroom. That's the bigger of the two rooms. So this is at 14 meters. It is going to be a home library. Now, if you recall in the last renovation, that was kind of like a beach house theme as far as the interior went. I really wanted to have a library, but I wasn't really happy with how squashed the extra room was. So instead I turned it into a home office. I also never used this fireplace before. So I thought, you know what? I think it kind of goes, and this is when it was starting to really register, like, you know what, this is kind of going to be like an elderly family's home. And there are some very specific references in this house to my late grandma. Like I mentioned before about how she had a daybed. So here's one, just one of a few little homages to her, I guess you could call it, little references that I'm aware of that just, things that remind me of her. And she had a lot of wood tones in her house. Her carpeting was like a dark brown color. It was a little bit shaggy, and the walls were very neutral. They were like a beige color. And you will see that I add an accent wall to the living room, and I also repaint the hallway so it is more of a beige color. I did not go wild with plants this time, but my grandma had a lot of house plants, primarily African violets, and she had a beautiful flower garden outside of her house. I did not do any landscaping for this renovation. I considered it, and I just wasn't feeling it. It will happen, just not right now. I took out those double doors in the entryway and just put in a very large archway to just kind of keep things going, keep the room, the traffic flowing. I don't like walls closing everything off. I would much rather have archways in places. And I'm going to show you something interesting here. So I choose this door. Where is it? Here it is. But I don't line it up exactly as I should. And I'm not sure if I showed this before or not. But you can just smack it with your sledgehammer and pick it up and then move it back. So up until this point, all the decorations that you see around the house are things that were already in the house, but of course I add a few more. And here is the repainting of the wall. Now I did unlock a skill point for cleaning, for 50% faster cleaning, which is excellent. And now I can paint 3 wall sections at once. And you'll see. Let me know in the comments if you like this color being added to the renovation or not. I personally needed this. It was just way too much of that brown. It's almost like a reddish brown, like a burnt umber. I'm just not wild about it. But I'm kind of making it my personal goal to not reuse the same colors over and over and over again. And it's difficult because I have my favorites. They're my favorites for a reason, and I use them all the time. When I'm not making videos and I'm playing on my own on a different save file, I use the same things over and over because I really, really like them. And, I'll add different things and play around with different textures maybe, and perhaps different decorations, but overall, I know what I like. So now it's time to get the little rugs out. And again, this elderly couple loves rugs. I don't recall my grandma having a lot of rugs. She had some. I remember she had some going down into the basement. And I think she had 1 or 2 in the kitchen. But she didn't have like hardwood floors like this. And my grandma's house was actually built by her, my grandfather, and her father. They built her house. And it was such a neat house. I say was. It still exists. When she passed away, it was sold to the neighbor's son who lived across the street from her. She had told him that, when she passed away, she wanted him to have her house. And he has made some changes to it. To my understanding, he has knocked out a wall between the kitchen and the living room. And I think that's kind of neat because the kitchen was kind of closed off. And if you have watched any of my renovation videos here on House Flipper, you will know that I am all about changing walls, knocking down walls. And a lot of the artwork that I chose is kind of more old-fashioned. A lot of it looks like it's from the 70s. Some of it just looks classic as opposed to, there's no big modern pictures here. It's just kind of like cottagey and cozy. And I'm really happy with these curtains that I found because I've never used these before. And they fit these windows very well. A big struggle is trying to find the curtains that will fit the windows in this game. I don't know. It must just be like a universal issue when you're making games to have windows and curtains and have them fit and look right, because I cannot tell you how much time and frustration I have had in games like The Sims 4 trying to find what curtains match what windows. And that's not a way that I think anybody enjoys spending their time when they're trying to design something, and just have them line up. Like, if this, then that. You can only use these curtains or these windows here. I know, I just sound like I'm being nitpicky. That's okay, I'm allowed. So I have taken a break from making videos for almost a week now because my new computer came. And graphics wise, I have been able to up the graphic settings here, and I'm very happy with the way everything looks. Unfortunately, there is still an issue with those, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like ziggy-zaggy, like when you have something that you need to cut out on a piece of paper. The dotted lines! That's what I'm looking for, dotted lines. The dotted lines that sometimes appear under some of the windows, they're still appearing, but it's not as obvious, I don't think. I have found that the only way to eliminate those completely is to turn all of the graphic settings all of the way up, but that makes my game crawl. And not just like, oh, it's slower. No, even just moving the camera from like one side to another side of the screen, it's terrible. The lag is so bad. This is actually the most expensive piece of furniture in the entire house, is this cabinet. It was like $589, I believe. And I wanted to put some dishes on it because my grandma always had a china cabinet in her living room. It was like, well, it was her dining room, but it was all open. Like, there were walls, but there were no doors separating the kitchen, dining room, and living room. It was just big continuous big room that obviously had walls, but it wasn't all closed off. And then in the library, rather than putting up books, I decided to put down some other pieces of china, just as little decorative bits. And then I went in a different direction. I was starting to get away from like my grandma and thinking of like maybe a different kind of grandma who really likes entertaining and has a lot of glassware for alcoholic beverages. Again, you have to experiment. You have to see what works. And I kept it like this. Just a collection of glasses. You know, no big deal. I didn't go wild with decorating the kitchen. I was disappointed that I could not put the cutting board on the wall, because my grandma had a cutting board on the wall. And I wanted to be able to put cutlery in the drawers. You can open the drawers, but you can't put anything inside. Oh, what a bummer. But that's okay. So I didn't want to just leave this spoon here. So I refiltered my results and I put a little small cup next to it, as if someone is going to be making something like stirring up their tea. And I usually don't put in trash cans. I just never remember to do it. I don't think about it. It's not like The Sims where, you know, your little people need to throw things away. No, there's never any trash to throw away in the garbage, so I never think of actually, hey, I should buy a garbage can. Sometimes I remember for like the bathroom, because they will show up in the bathroom accessories as opposed to the container category. I'm just moving some things around now. And this is where I got this. This is the old-fashioned mirror I mentioned earlier. Sorry, my cats are running around. No surprise. Whenever I go to record something, they're always running about. And now it just hit the cat tree. Awesome. All right, so I have this little shoe cabinet under here, and I wanted to change up the wood tones, make it a little different. And I put in a different vanity. I've never used this one. It's kind of oddly shaped because it's so tall. So sorry, my cat is going wild on the cat tree right now. And then I struggled to find a good bench for this vanity. I wasn't really wild. I didn't want all those patterns, but I wanted it to be tall. But I didn't want the legs to be plastic. And I looked at that one, and then I looked at this one, and I just went right back to this one. I said, you know what? That has to be good enough. It's fine. No one's actually really going to use it. It will do. And at this point, I referenced how much it would cost to sell the sink, and I would get $61 from it. And so I sold it because this old-fashioned sink only cost $51, I believe. But this is one of those weird ones that likes to leak. So of course I had to clean that up. And if you can hear some music in the background, I apologize. My husband's alarm just went off. And so he will be waking up soon. Hopefully this is the only time we will hear it through this video. And then, what grandparent does not have toys for their grandchildren? Even if, they're not brand new toys, it's always nice to have something to play with. My grandma had built us a beautiful dollhouse to play with when I was a kid. I played with it all the time. Put in a rocking horse that will move. Why not? We are getting close to the end here. I did put a clock up in the kitchen. Oh yes, and my grandma loved kitties. She loved cats, and she never had any while I was alive. But she would always talk about the ones that she had and things, and she just really liked cats and things with cats on them. So I put in one little kitty picture over there, and I actually uploaded a picture of my grandma. So that's a picture of my grandma in like the 40s, and there it is. I was able to put it in the house. I think that's really cool. I've never really added my own pictures to the game before, but I knew it was an option. So I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll add a couple more. This is my oldest rescue kitty, Bowie, sitting in the Christmas tree. And that is a picture of a sunset that I took back in Pittsburgh several years ago. And here is the house. This is the end. This is the end of the tour here. Well, the beginning of the tour, almost the end of the video. And then we'll be able to sell this house. This is our hallway. And yeah, there's a little light on top of the old-fashioned mirror, which I think is pretty neat. Here's our bathroom. Again, this is a very simple renovation. I'm not always going to feel up to doing the most. And I've done an awful lot of renovations lately. So why not just keep this one kind of simple, but still cozy? I'm so glad I added those pictures. I need to go through my Dropbox and add some more in, because I have a lot of pictures. Here's our little kitchenette. It's not anything super fancy, but there's enough cabinets that they could put all of their pots and pans and flatware and things like that in. In the toy corner, all this stuff, I think I did a good job. I will never use that color of wall paint again. So now it is time to sell the house. So a reminder, we bought it for $61,969.09. It has 5 rooms. I spent 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 12 seconds. And our current budget is $117,690.30. So already we can see by these lowest bids that we will be making a profit. You can also see the cost of the renovation. We spent under $7,000 for the furniture. Okay, here we go. So currently our profit would be $33,326.08. But of course, I'm going to negotiate. And I want to see if I can get it around $40,000. Will they take it? Yay, they took it! So we're making a profit of $40,438.08. All in all, a success. But that's it. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, please hit the like button, ring that notification bell so you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And I completely screwed up this outro, but it's okay. Please leave your comments and suggestions down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.